Talk. Woo! Alright, so this is our first series. It's gonna be once a month on my YouTube channel, so just subscribe to see more of my girls, Kristen, Nadia, Nora, and Charity. So welcome guys to our very first Girls Talk. Are you guys excited?
Yes.
So excited.
So I hope you watch the whole video. It's gonna be so amazing. And this month we're gonna talk about love. Alright, so we're just gonna dive into some questions about love, relationship, being single, and our faith and our walk with God. Alright, so let's start right now. So what would you determine as being an independent woman?
I think just educating yourself, not academically, but just finding your passion and pursuing your passions.
Okay.
I think just knowing yourself and knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want, knowing who you are, knowing what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept, all tie into being independent. And also just like basic physical needs like cooking, cleaning, things like that. If you're living on your own, that causes you to be independent because if you don't know how to do those things, you're kind of
very true.
Mom.
Basically being able to like provide for yourself, like if no one else could provide for you, being able to do it on your own.
Even if you don't have to, you have the mental capacity and even just
the ability to do it.
Okay, that's very interesting. So being independent is like, you know, having your education, career, like your life on goal, finances, cooking, cleaning, like we all need to learn how to do that. Very good. Alright, so what are your views on
It's just really
dating?
important to just develop a friendship. I know everyone says that, but it's really, really important. I don't think you should skip steps, because once you skip steps, that's when you kind of miss.
That's very good.
Miss
like the core of what
exactly.
you're supposed to have. You 100%. You have to know who you're with, and you can't just. I don't think you should start getting to know someone while you're dating them. That should be a new level of getting to know someone. Like initially, as a friend, I should know who you are. And obviously, as you get closer, you find out more things. But I don't think you should be like, oh, let's date and let's get to know each other. Like, no. I want to know you first.
Exactly.
All right. And then, are your views like when you're dating somebody? Do you think about automatically if I'm gonna be with this person, I'm gonna end up marrying this person? Like it's like straight marriage after this relationship?
Well,
all the time.
No. Like if you're gonna get to the point where you're dating. I think you should always have a purpose. Like I don't feel like you should be dating that person if you don't know. If you don't know if you're gonna end up with them, you know, like.
I think up to the point where if there was something that came up that you knew you could not handle in marriage, that would be your cue. Like let me get out because this is no longer serving a long-term purpose. But if it's just casual, I mean it's different. But I don't think right off the hop you should be like, this is my husband. That's that's kind of scary. And it's a lot of pressure, and it doesn't have to be that serious initially. But I mean, as it gets more serious, then you kind of think that way.
And like how like you were saying before, like you're not stuck. But once you start dating that person, doesn't mean like okay, we're dating now, but I have to be with that person. It's like if you see certain things, or if you should never date a person thinking like, oh, I just want to see where this is going, or I'm just dating them because they're fun or they're adventurous or whatever. Date with a purpose, like they said, and if something good comes out of it, yes, continue.
And if something bad happens, then
cut it out.
That's why it's very important.
Not saying don't fight for your relationship though. Like,
not like oh, like he didn't call me. We're done. Like if it's a continuous problem or something that's just like, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that's why it's very important to develop that friendship.
So you know who they are.
So you can skip a step. Like if you're friends already and you don't think they're a good person, you don't think you're compatible, why are you gonna date? Like you shouldn't have to date to figure that out. You should know that before you.
So what advice can you give to single viewers right now that are watching you while they're waiting for that person to come into their life? Like what should they do right now?
Stop waiting.
Stop waiting.
Yes. What are you waiting for?
Good point.
Like waiting, like we're young. I don't know how old you are. We are all under 25. I don't think at that point you should be waiting for somebody to marry. Like that to me is just a waste of time. It's a waste of your energy and your mind. Like there's so much to do. We were saying this earlier, like buy a plane ticket and go somewhere, save your money, like figure out what you want to do and pursue that. Like waiting to me at this point is not even like a thing. Like stop waiting.
I feel like you should just live your life. Like as she was saying, like why are you waiting? Like you don't need somebody else. You don't need to be in a relationship to have fun. Like have fun with your girls. Like
whatever it is, whoever it is, it will happen. And I mean, I'm not saying don't like prepare yourself, but while you're waiting per se, like just become a better you. Like
just like work on
become responsibly like with become responsible in money, responsible with your time, practice patience, self-control, because you will need it, like a ton of it. And like, I think a lot of people have this wrong perception of relationships that like this is what you need to be happy, and this is what you need.
Because I think the society makes it seem like you need a relationship, you need to be like
you need to be tied down. Like, someone else needs to.
If Valentine's Day comes around, like you don't have anybody, like you're like, oh my god,
like no, like that's not what you need. Like it's literally, it should be something that complements your life, not something that is your life. It should not be your life. It should be something that adds on to what you already have individually.
Yeah. So what do you do, so Kristen, to like, as you're waiting right now, what are you doing?
Well, like I have goals that I want for myself. So I'm just pursuing that like before someone else is like added into the equation.
Okay, that's
like
good.
I want to finish school and everything and be basically independent before like I want to add someone and then work on a relationship because they take time.
Yeah, time,
energy,
money,
everything.
Yeah.
So I just want to be like good and like as complete like a person that I can be before.
That's really good. Yeah. So honestly, girls, like, and men, even if you're watching this right now, don't let it consume your mind. Like, be at peace with your man. It'll come whenever it needs to come. Like, just, know that God has somebody for you. Like, there's somebody out there for you. All right? Is that right? So how do you think a man should approach you if they're interested?
So none of that Facebook stuff.
Slide into the DMs.
Honestly, I feel like if you want to get to know someone, if you want to like introduce yourself to them, just go up to them. Hi, my name is Peter. Hi, my name is John. Hi, my name is whatever you're interested or whatever. Introduce yourself. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I feel like confident girls respect and appreciate confident men who aren't afraid or aren't too shy to be like, hey, how are you, what's your name? No one likes being flirted with initially. That's a turn off. If you're just regular, like normal, and have a conversation, guys or girls love when guys are funny, like just basic. It doesn't have to be like
sexy.
You don't have to talk to you don't have to consult with your like 9 boys, like, oh, how do I it's not that big a deal. Like just come and say hi, you know what I mean? Like it's not that deep.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you're out and someone takes time out of their day to come up to you and say, hi, how are you? You're going to remember that person.
For like a number right away or anything. Because if not, I'm not going to get it.
You're not going to get it.
And then none of that stuff when they come up to you and they're like, talk to you. They're like, that like something that they do, they're like,
open your eyes.
None of that.
None of that.
No. And if you're going to give a compliment, give a basic. Don't be like, oh, look at, like, just don't go into detail. Just you look beautiful. Something simple. Like, that's it. You don't need to be
extra
gross.
Yeah. And so, what are your number 1 red flags when it comes to men?
Excuses. If you're making up excuses, I don't know what you're hiding. So,
Laziness, 100%. Like, if you're lazy and you won't get up and you won't just. I also don't like when people are just like, what's the word? Like non-adventurous and just very comfortable and like, no, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do anything. Have some adventure.
Be motivated.
Like I want to do stuff. You have to do stuff with me. So.
Appearances, yes. Like if we first meet and then like your shoes are kind of off or your hair, you don't have a haircut. Like for me, it's like future-wise, like if they don't do it like the first appearance, they're not gonna do it as we go along. So and that's like I'm big into fashion, so like for me that's like an issue for me personally. Like I don't know about you guys.
But to me that's not like a red flag. That would just be like I would never even consider that happening just because of that. Like, that's like we don't
connect.
Like,
it's like a first impression kind of.
Exactly. First impression. When we talk about their friends, if you get the opportunity to see how they act around their friends and family, how they like show respect to them,
how they treat women in general.
Yeah. Or if like they have like if they're in a relationship already and they're talking to you,
that's a red flag. Red flag.
Like if they're trying to leave their current girlfriend, so they could talk. Like you don't want to be.
Because what if he does that to you? Like,
he will.
He will do it to you.
He will.
He will.
He will. He will. All right.
And another thing, if you're calling me late at night.
Oh my god!
If you're texting
past
me late
10
at
o'clock,
night,
do not call me.
No,
unless you're dating.
Like, unless you're dating, yes. But if you're like, can I get to know the person?
Yeah.
No.
And if they only call you when they need something or when they want something, and it's not just to have your company, like no. Don't be the person they use.
The topic of conversation is always inappropriate.
Oh my god!
To know me, you just want to get to know my body.
Yeah, we're not.
Not about that.
I think red flag exactly. If someone like off the bat is super sexual and like talks to you in that way, it's a turn off. It's like I don't know you. Like
turn off.
But the thing is, some girls like that. You know what I mean? If you like that stuff, you are a red flag. You are a red
Okay,
flag.
so deal breakers. So what are your deal breakers? Like for me, going on a first date and I'm paying for my own meal, deal breaker right there. Like
I
no,
have to come pick you up.
deal breaker. Call first, don't text first. Like don't do that.
Yeah, let the guy chase you.
Yeah.
Deal
yes.
breaker for me is if you don't have a relationship with God.
That's the ultimate.
Ultimate.
That's
deal
the
breaker.
ultimate
Yeah.
one. It's just like it's a turn off for me. Like if I'm here and like I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm the most spiritual person, but like my walk with God is increasing, you know.
Yeah.
But I do have times where I do fail and I do go back and I need someone to support me and bring me up, you know. But if you're just bringing me down and I'm down, like what are we really doing?
Because we need to like work together and then build it up together. Like if you just come and have to like you said earlier off camera, like pulling that person with you, like that's kind of like burden on top of a burden. Like
To me, it's not even just about like having a burden spiritually. It's just the fact that the person you're with is a reflection of you. Also, should be a motivation to have someone who has a relationship with God. Because I mean, I feel like it'd be like embarrassing for me to have someone who I'm with who like can't worship or can't find a verse in the Bible, you know what I mean, who's just kind of like just not educated spiritually.
Yeah.
I feel like that would look bad on me. I'm not saying you have to have someone who's like a pastor or have someone who's super saved, but like at least has a desire to go there and who isn't just comfortable coming to church every Sunday, just sitting down and that's it. Like I wouldn't want that.
Right. And do you think there's a difference being a Christian girl and dating or seeking to date or being single? Like, do you think if you weren't Christian it would have been different?
Alright, I feel like if you're a Christian, it is different because you're looking for someone else who's a Christian. Like you're looking for someone who could pray. Like if you ever need healing, like someone who would like actually like step up and pray for you, and it's not awkward for them or anything. So I feel like it's like a difference of like you're looking for a person with like a different character or like a different.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
different character, like.
A character that reflects God.
Yeah, a character that reflects God.
I know what you're saying. I also could not say it. Just like I feel like if we were Christian, I feel like a lot of people would just hook up with guys or just do the stuff just for fun. I feel like because we are Christian, we kind of do have to have a little more self-control if we are striving to be pure like Christ and like pure and remain saved.
Yeah.
There is like the self-control aspect of it.
If he's the one, like. I know we're not in a relationship like right now as the moment, like, but how do you know if like the person were to come?
Just like when that time comes, like if you're praying and you're seeking God and you're like talking to Him, saying, okay, when that time comes, reveal to me that this is the person you want me to be with. Like you don't want to end up with some random dude who like takes you left. Like you want to go, like you want to do God's will in life, So I feel like with constant prayer and just seeking God, He will reveal to you when that time comes, okay, this is who I want you to be with.
Yeah.
So like right now, we may not know just because we're not in that position, but when the time comes, God willing, we will know.
And I feel like being Christian, like it's true that you need to be prayerful about that just because like I know I had some situation where guys came and they're like, oh yeah, you're the one for me. They're like, God told me. But if you don't have your own relationship with God, then you'll be like, oh yeah, like God told you. Like,
I still be like,
we get it. You need to question it. Like if a guy, regardless if you're Christian or not, you need to question if a guy comes to you and be like, I'm the one for you. Like you have to be like,
First of all, no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's weird.
No.
It's awkward.
yeah, guys that do that, please don't.
It's
Like,
I feel like you're
trying.
No, like don't do that. Like even if you think you know, because sometimes I'm not convinced. Because a lot of people just say that because that's how they feel. Like don't go to someone and be like, you're my wife. Like that's scary.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, I was gonna say one thing. A lot of it doesn't have to be like spiritually. I know it has to just be like basic things. Like, are we compatible?
Right.
Do we get along? Do we make a good team?
Are you in love?
Am I in love with you? Like, do you care for me the way I need to be cared for? Things like that. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh God, is this the one?
No.
It's like, if we can't get along generally, maybe he's not the one for you.
Can you get along with
You know
my
what I mean?
family? Does my dad like you? Does my mom like
it's
you?
not always like a spiritual thing. Sometimes it's just like basic like communication needs or other things like that. It doesn't have to be like, I didn't have a dream, you're the one for me. Just like, you can't even have a conversation without fighting. You know what I mean? So just look at basic things and don't think that, because you haven't had a dream, this isn't the one for you. If you get along great, you guys are both financially set up, so on and so forth. I don't necessarily think you have to have like God come into your bedroom and say, this is your husband.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
I feel like you're already with them, you guys work great, you're both, in the church, things like that. I don't think it has to be that, supernatural. That's just me.
And I feel like it'll make sense. When it happens, I feel like everything would just connect, like everything would just be aligned. Like I just feel like when you're the right person, it just goes smooth. Like when you're not with the right person, it's like
yeah. It's like one day you're up, one day you're down, like left,
then you're
right.
stressing, like, oh my god, does he love me? Like
Yeah.
yeah. Like no.
You stress too much about
Yeah,
it.
if you stress too much about it, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
also another thing to go on what you were saying before of like guys approaching girls or vice versa. If God tells something to one person, why can't you can ask God yourself, is this real? Like don't just because someone comes up to you and says, okay, God told me that this is that, ask God for revelation. Okay, God, this person told me this, show me yourself that, if God is real to you, if you have a relationship with God like that, exercise it.
Yeah. So how do you balance relationship, friendship, and your relationship with God?
If this was me like a couple of years ago, like transitioning from high school first to university, I know like I put school first because I was like, no, this is really hard. I need to get like good marks. I need to, so school was first. Everything else came second. Like I didn't care what it was. But recently, as I've grown and you realize, okay, what's really important in life. This may be beneficial to me right now, but looking down my future, obviously, God is number one. God should be number one. So you start to prioritize. Okay, today we have church. I have to be there for this time. We have worship practice. There's youth. There's this. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So I list that out. Everything else that I have to fit in. My time to study. My time to hang out with my friends. Yeah, your commitment level. So whatever you place first in your life basically consumes most of your time. I feel.
Yeah, and I feel like if God isn't first before you get into a relationship or isn't first before the rest of your life, when life gets crazier, busier, it's not going to be any different. And like she said, prioritizing. And I feel like when you are involved in church and different things like that, it keeps you on track. It kind of like schedules not your walk with God, but it keeps you kind of in the house of God, in the environment that you should be in. Like I was saying before, like if there's prayer meeting or like small group or something like that, and I know that during that day or during a couple of days I haven't made the time to have personal devotions, I'll be like, I have to go to church because you know what I mean? Like I put myself there.
Yeah.
So I mean there's ways, like obviously sometimes if we're real, we don't read our Bible every single day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't set aside the time we should for prayer. So I think the fact that we do have services in the midweek and other things in the city that are going on, at different churches or whatever, it really helps you just to kind of keep that connection. But like she said, it's balance and it's prioritizing.
Like I know if you have friends or if you're in a relationship and you feel like it's consuming it before God, or like your prayer life, your devotion, like you're supposed to pray at 5 a.m. but you're still on the phone at 5 a.m. like like
find that when you do put God first and you do prioritize the way you're supposed to, everything will fall in line, because God does hold your world in his hand. He has control over everything. So there's no point stressing about school, let's say, and be like, oh, I have an assignment due, so I'm going to skip my prayer time. Like, if you pray, God will help you with that assignment.
That's true.
It's just something that you need to figure out for yourself. And once you figure out for
I'm
yourself.
just going to ask you individually, like, to leave something with our viewers about just the topic of love in general. Like, what would you want them to be, to have, like, in their heart, like, as they leave this video that you're going to subscribe to?
Okay, so basically, like, my definition of love is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It talks about everything that love entails and everything. So basically, like, if you want to read that, you can go ahead and then try and, like, live by that.
Yeah.
For me, it's don't rush love. It'll come when it's supposed to come.
For me, I would just say love yourself first, and with that, you'll be able to appropriately love another person. You can't love another person effectively without loving yourself first. So I feel like that's a huge thing that you should really take with you.
I feel like I'll go off of Nora, where she said love yourself. I'm just gonna say, like, if you think that happiness will come when you have a relationship or when you find the one, like, I think honestly it's so overrated. You won't. Like, if you're not happy with yourself,
right,
someone is not going to make you happy. And I was saying before, you should start off as who you are, happy, great, comfortable, and then have someone else compliment you, not have someone else become your life and become all you care about. If you are constantly investing in someone else, you're pouring out of yourself, and if you aren't originally happy, you're just going to be more miserable and have someone else along for the ride. Exactly. Like she said, love yourself first. You're not going to find happiness in someone else. Yes, someone else can add to your happiness, but if you truly are happy and content with who you are, no one and nothing will change that except God and except you. Just working on yourself and learning to love who you are and accept who you are.
So thank you guys for watching our first ever Girl Talk. It was honestly fun. Don't forget to subscribe and submit your question below. Whatever question you have regarding anything, put it down in the description box and I'll view it and then we'll do another Girls Talk in March. Woo! Bye!
Bye!